And we're live with Mark 8. In those days of the multitude, being very great, and having nothing to eat, Jesus called his disciples unto him, and saith unto them, I have compassion on the multitude, because they now have been with me 3 days, and have nothing to eat. And if I send them away, fasting, to their own houses, they will faint by the way, for divers of them come from far. And his disciples answered him, From whence can a man satisfy these men with bread here in the wilderness? And he asked them, How many loaves have ye? Why do I feel like I'm repeating a story that How many times did Jesus feed 5,000? Hold on, we gotta look this up. How many times did Jesus feed 4,000 men with 5 loaves and 2 fish again? Another 7? Oh, with 7 loaves and a few fish. Still 7 and 7. Once, and the 12 baskets of remaining bread and another 5 baskets. Okay. Interesting. I wonder if the disciples will doubt this time again. From whence can a man satisfy these men? But you've seen this before. This is a very confusing passage. You've seen this before. I mean, this might have not been the 12 disciples. The 12, I should call them. Anyway, he asked them, How many loaves have ye? And they said 7. And he commanded the people to sit down on the ground, and he took the 7 loaves, and gave thanks, and brake, and gave to his disciples to set before them. And they did set them before the people. And they had a few small fishes, and he blessed them, and commanded to set them also before them. So they did eat, and were filled. And they took up the broken meat that was left, 7 baskets. And they had eaten. Wait, they said the first one time 5, the other time 7? I think there was 12 baskets. But this one says 7 baskets. Hold on. Why did I feel like that article said other 5, but this one says 7? That is incorrect. Catholic Answers. Another 5 baskets. But I'm reading here 7 baskets. That's interesting. And they that had eaten were about 4,000, he sent them away. Okay, good. There's no questioning by the disciples, but they did ask this weird question. I mean, still silly. And straightway he entered into a ship with his disciples and came into the parts of Dalmanutha. And the Pharisees came forth and began to question with him, seeking of him a sign from heaven, tempting him. And he sighed deeply in his spirit, and saith, Why doth this generation seek after a sign? Verily I say unto you, there shall no sign be given unto this generation. And he left them, and entering into the ship again, departed to the other side. So does not want to give them a sign. People that seek signs, why? Why do you seek for a sign? You know, if your heart was only soft enough, you would know the truth. Now the disciples had forgotten to take bread, neither had they in the ship with them more than 1 loaf. And he charged them, saying, Take heed, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, and of the leaven of Herod. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, Is it because we have no bread? And when Jesus knew it, he saith unto them, That's funny, and when Jesus knew it, maybe when Jesus heard it, because he always knew, because he's God, he saith unto them, Why reason ye, because ye have no bread? Perceive ye not yet, neither understand? Understand? Have ye your heart yet hardened? Having eyes, see ye not? And having ears, hear ye not? And do ye not remember, when I brake the 5 loaves among the 5,000, how many baskets full of fragments took ye up? They say unto him, 12. And now when they ask again, I wonder if he's going to say 5 or 7. Look, and when the 7 among 4,000, how many baskets full of fragments took ye up? And they said 7, not 5. And he said unto them, how is it that ye do not understand? Wait, he's talking about the Pharisees. The leaven of the Pharisees and leaven of Herod. I guess it's like almost like asking, beware of the substance of the Pharisees and the substance of Herod, because leaven is substance of bread. So beware of their substances, especially after, well, no, and then he left, so it's a separate conversation. But they mention the loaf here. And he's like, speaking of loaves, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, leaven of Herod. Because we have no bread. So he did all these miracles, and he's like, look, I did all these miracles. So they're still thinking about this bread. But then he goes, why reason ye? Because ye have no bread. So they're missing the point here of what this sentence means. It seems as though. So I think he's just making a generic statement, and they're just still thinking bread. How don't you understand? What is there to understand, Jesus? God. What is leaven? Leaven implies introducing something that enlivens, tempers, or markedly alters a total quality. Old fermented dough usually contacting lactobacillus and yeast. The tabernacle has been raised. And the leaven of the Pharisees and the leaven of Herod, that's not good leaven. Not specifically leaven. It cannot mean literally leaven. It would be so out of place for Jesus to just randomly drop that. But we can always research. Take heed of the leaven of the Pharisees and Herod. Got questions? And Mark and Luke. Spirit of truth. Which is hypocrisy. Yeah, the yeast of the Pharisees is hypocrisy. That's what I was going to say. The root of their fundamental belief system. Yeah, not bread. Jesus reminded them of 2 miracles, feeding the 5,000 and the 4,000. Yeah, not physical leaven. Sadducees come to test Jesus, sign from heaven. Refused giving the sign, but promised the sign of Jonah. Yeast and leaven Pharisees was subtle yet pervasive influence over the Pharisees exerted over the people. So beware of this influence over the people. Yeah, you got to beware. So beware, essentially, take heed and beware. He used something that we understand of leaven, but just beware of the Pharisees and Herod. And the leaven of them, like the way they believed. Like they professed Jews. Not Herod, but the Pharisees. Is Herod a Jew? I don't know. I don't think so. But possibly they would want a Jewish person that has severe, big ties with Romans too. Anyway, he comes to Bethsaida, and they bring him a blind man unto him, and besought him to touch him. And he took the blind man by the hand, and led him out of the town. And when he had spit on his eyes, and put his hands upon him, he asked him if he saw aught. And he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking. After that he put his hands again upon his eyes, and made him look up. And he was restored, and saw every man clearly. I wonder if this, what he saw, was like a vision of heaven. Imagine we're just all trees in heaven. Like the Ents. And saw every man clearly, and he sent him away to his house, saying, neither go into the town, nor tell it to any in the town. And Jesus went out, and his disciples, into the towns of Caesarea Philippi. And by the way, he asked his disciples, saying unto them, whom do men say that I am? And they answered, John the Baptist, but some say Elias, and others one of the prophets. And he saith unto them, But whom say ye that I am? And Peter answered and saith unto him, Thou art the Christ. So, Christ definition got questions. Anointed one, or the chosen one. And this is the Greek equivalent of the Hebrew Messiah. So the Hebrews would say Messiah, the Greeks might say Christ. So Christ is just a title. It's not Jesus. It's like Jesus the Christ. Thou art the Christ. So maybe we should call him Jesus the Christ and not just Jesus Christ. Does anyone say Jesus Christ together? I wonder. I'm going to look for Jesus Christ in the Bible and see if there's ever a Jesus Christ together. And he charged them that they should tell no man of him. And he began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things. By the way, I skipped over this. He charged them that they should tell no man of him. So they know he's the anointed one, the Christ, the Messiah. That might entail a lot. I don't know exactly how heavy that comment is of the Christ. Were there any other anointed ones? I don't remember any other Christs in the Bible, so it must mean more. But he tells them, tell no one. It's not the time. But they are correct. He didn't say, you are wrong. This is correct. And then he charged them that they should tell no man of him. And he began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things, and be rejected of the elders, and of the chief priests, and scribes, and be killed, and after 3 days rise again. And he spake that saying openly. And Peter took him and began to rebuke him. But when he had turned about and looked on his disciples, he rebuked Peter, saying, Get thee behind me, Satan, for thou savorest not the things that be of God, but the things that be of men. And when he called the people unto him, I've been having an interesting conversation with somebody recently. Is Satan the one that's controlling our bad thoughts, or does it come from inside the heart? Because Mark 7 says it comes from inside the heart, but then he calls Peter Satan for doing something wrong. But anyone telling Jesus said he must do these things, and you're saying, no, don't, you can't. We'll save you. He's like, bro, I just told you what's going to happen. And now you're denying? So any denial of this, of Jesus' death and resurrection, even early on in the disciple stage, and there's denial of it today, but any denial back then, get thee behind me, Satan. I'm sure Peter was just hoping for his God, that he wouldn't have to suffer. But I think Jesus is really just painting a message like, look what he said, and look at my response. And when he had called the people unto him with his disciples also, he said unto them, Whosoever, because Peter is still the rock church, the church rock, this is still that Peter. So it's not like Jesus was so angry that it was changed everything. All right, I'm rambling. But when he called the people unto him with his disciples also, he said unto them, Whosoever will come after me, let him deny himself, and take up his cross and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, but whosoever shall lose his life for my sake and the gospel's, the same shall save it. For what shall it profit a man, if he shall gain the whole world, and lose his soul, his own soul? Nothing. There is no profit. For what shall it profit a man? Nothing, if he gain the whole world and lose his own soul. Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? Whosoever therefore shall be ashamed of me and of my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of him also shall the Son of Man be ashamed, when he cometh in the glory of his Father with the holy angels. Sorry, I have construction going on in my house, but highlight all that. We should always be aware. Therefore, who shall be ashamed of me and my words If you're ashamed to really preach the gospel and you're preaching your own version of making up your own rules, or like, I don't think God would do that, and I think actually we should blah, 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 so on and so forth. You can fill in those sentences yourself. You're being ashamed of God, and you're trying to appease the people of this world. So don't do that. Honor God where you can. Not that you have to be bashing it over people's heads or shove it down people's throats, but you should certainly not be shying away from a chance to speak up for God. And I've had moments in my life where I'm like, I should have said something. I didn't know enough at the time, but I should have said something. But I go back and I was like, hey, remember that time I didn't say anything? And then I say that thing. It's kind of an interesting conversation. Anyway, I don't know who I imagine is watching this. Nobody. But God bless you all abundantly. It's really for me. It's for me so I could interpret. Because when I want to read it for somebody else, even if no one's watching it, I'm dissecting everything that I should be dissecting on my own anyway, which I think is important. If only I could do that on my own. I can try it. All right, God bless you all abundantly. God bless me abundantly. And God bless the whole world abundantly. In Jesus' name I pray these things. Amen.